Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa and I've been on the carnivore diet for 52 days now, and I thought that I'd share with you guys why I eat this way and why I choose not to incorporate fruits, vegetables, grains into my diet, and why I also don't plan on ever adding them back. Okay, so firstly, when your body doesn't actually get any carbohydrates from food, you kind of learn to function on fat instead of glucose. And I personally think that I function much better when I'm fat adapted and when my body uses fat as energy rather than glucose. And one of the reasons for that is cognitive function. I just feel like I can think so much clearer when my brain works on ketones, which are derived from fat, instead of glucose. I feel more sharp. I just feel like I can focus more. And as someone who has ADHD, carnivore has really helped me get off my medication, which isn't really healthy for me. And it's made it so much easier to live better with ADHD, live easier, and focus much better in class. Another reason why I think I function better on fat is when it comes to energy levels. So when you take in carbohydrates in fruit, any form, your body stores it in your muscles, and the leftovers that you don't have room for in your muscles will get stored as fat. But that kind of limits you to the amount of energy you have. Think about it, because if you don't have a lot of muscle mass, which I currently don't, I'm trying to gain more muscle, then I'm not going to have a lot of room for carbohydrates to be stored. So my energy levels will kind of look something like that, because I can reload on carbs before a workout and then it'll fill my muscles up and I will use them up pretty quickly and I'll be left tired. And it kind of creates energy spikes and mood swings that I don't really like to deal with. But on carnivore, since all my energy is derived from fat, I find it much easier to have stable energy, because instead of running out of energy, my body can easily tap into its fat stores after running out of dietary fat for energy, which is pretty cool. The last reason of why I think I function better on carnivore is because there isn't any blood sugar spikes. So when I was eating a lot of carbs, I would always eat a lot of them in a meal. My blood sugar would go up, my insulin would go up, and then after like an hour, I'd be really hungry and I'd want to eat more food again and I'd have to reload. And it just would be a constant cycle of getting hungry, eating carbs, and then having to get hungry again just an hour later. And I was overeating and I couldn't really control it because my insulin and blood sugar were just not regulated. But on carnivore, since fat and protein, which is basically all I eat, don't really raise your insulin that much, it keeps it really steady throughout the day. I find myself not having to binge eat. I can control my portions. I can eat as much as I want, and my body will just tell me when it's done and when it's full. Okay, so besides for the fact that I function much better running on fats instead of carbs, I also try to avoid vegetables in particular because of the defense chemicals that are in them. So in case you didn't know, vegetables have these chemicals in them, some of them being lectins, phytic acid, and most common oxalates. And these things are basically created in vegetables so that humans and other animals don't eat them. And these things, these defense chemicals, actually block the absorption of the nutrients you get from the vegetables. So when people say things like spinach is a great source of iron, it really isn't, because your body isn't able to absorb any of that iron because of the defense chemicals. So that's why I try to stay away from vegetables, because these chemicals are honestly not very beneficial for humans or animals. And when you eat these vegetables, they are actively trying to harm you because they don't want to be eaten, obviously. Like, plants don't have a fight or flight response like animals do. Like, if you're going to kill an animal, it would just run away from you. But since plants can't run away, they release these defense chemicals. And that's why I try to stay away from vegetables. But you may be asking, oh, why do you stay away from fruit? What about the animal-based diet, which is basically like carnivore, but there's also fruit? So I like to stay away from fruit because, first of all, I've struggled with hormonal acne for so long, and the only thing that kind of keeps it on a low is reducing my sugar intake, and especially fructose. fruit has a lot of natural sugars, and your body cannot tell the difference between the natural sugar and table sugar, I'm sorry to say. So I just try to stay away from it because it breaks me out. And also, again, my body runs much better on fat, and I can't really run on fat if I'm having fruits all the time. So that's kind of why I stay away from fruits and vegetables, and that is why I'm on a carnivore diet and I'm thriving on one. So if any of you guys have any video recommendations, I really hope that you enjoyed this and that it might have helped you in any way, shape, or form. I love you guys all. It was really nice to introduce myself.